Cody in the morning. WSM. This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Listen, we're going to roll into this hour with my pick of the week from Hall of Famer and opera star, the late Charlie Pride. We'll get there. Wish Jennifer Nettles and Kelsey Ballerini happy birthday today.
Is it today?
And guess who they share it with?
Who?
George Jones.
Oh, that's special.
Who was born in 1931 in Saratoga, Texas. I'm Bill Cody, Charlie Matos, Kelly Sutton, our studio directors, Andy and I, Jeff Roberts, rock solid in master control this morning. We're headed into the weekend. So go ahead and tease ahead, then I'm going to feature my pick of the week. First song of the hour.
Jamie O'Neill and the Isaacs. Did not know that was a duet that we needed, but oh, did we ever. So, yeah, very cool.
There Is No Arizona?
There Is No Arizona. Right. Did a little revamp of that. So,
25th anniversay.
Isn't that cool?
Yep.
And then we got...
Also makes me feel very old.
Well,
because literally,
just wait. It doesn't get better.
Okay, great.
Hey,
it was the biggest thing going when I moved to town, and I realized this is 24 years that I've been in Nashville this week.
Mm-hmm. And you got Dan Seals and Luke Bryan,
which is killer,
bringing back Everything That Glitters as a duet, and I played that on vinyl 39 years ago. It was 1986 when that song came.
Okay, you win.
I played a lot of vinyl before technology upgraded us a little bit.
Also, stay tuned for the most uncomfortable video you'll see all day long. It's someone.
That's a great tease.
It really is. So it's one of those that you can't stop watching it. So just get ready.
From the Assembly Food Hall stage in a little bit, excited about the work of Phil Vassar and Dean Sams of Lone Star. They have teamed up, got the debut of a new single and video called What It Means. And it's officially out next Friday, a week from today. And very excited. Everybody's kind of pumped up. Actor, producer, writer, singer. Hosted the Americana Awards and Honors on Wednesday night. And he actually performed with Margot Price on the show. But his name is John C. Reilly. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you see that, even if the name is not, for a lot of people, we go, I know that name. Maybe you can't put a face with it. The second you see him, you go, oh, he's in everything.
Everything.
And he's got a new album called Mr. Romantic. John C. Reilly a little later on.
More coffee. Cody is on WSM.
You know, they say when you die, your life flashes before your eyes. For me, it was more like a slideshow of things I thought I'd never get to do. My medic, Dan Smee, his version of the story was different than mine. He had carried with him that because I almost died, that he didn't do his job. Had Wounded Warrior Project not been in both of our lives, I'm petrified to know what my life would be like, or Dan's, if either one of us would still be here. I'm just so grateful that we both are.
And this weekend's Opry Live on Circle Country is brought to you by Wounded Warrior. The Wounded Warrior Project online, woundedwarriorproject.org to donate if you need help, if that applies to you or someone you love, woundedwarriorproject.org. And speaking of Opry Live, that was John Party. Friday Night Heartbreaker on a Friday morning with Kelly Sutton. That's what he is. He's a heartbreaker, soul shaker.
We're ready for it tonight. Friday night. Who is? Oh,
Pat
Joan
Benatar.
Jett? Oh.
No, I went to Pat Benatar.
Pat
so,
Benatar.
yeah.
That's right. Okay, well, here's the video that I promised. Super awkward. Try to look away, but you can't. So Riley Green, he's in the UK. He's doing different press stops as part of his UK tour. And there's one girl in particular. Her name is Cody. The name of the podcast is called Girls in Low Places, which is fantastic.
Well,
we
right
love
then.
that. Yeah. And they do mostly country. Hopefully I'll get to meet them when I go over because they sound like my kind of
Could
chicks.
do an episode of Girls Gone Wild.
Love it.
Yeah.
Why not?
I'm digging it.
So they have interviewed Riley before. And when Katie interviewed Riley before, apparently he got really flirty with her and he said some things to her. It was over Zoom. So she decided she was going to flip the script. She was going to get a little flirty with him. You've seen the video the worst way. Well, take a look at how the interview panned out. We haven't tested this table. And I didn't know what I was going to do when I got here.
Is she in a bathrobe? What is she wearing?
She is crawling across the table.
Riley's calling HR.
During
I think
the
I
interview.
am HR at this point.
It's exactly like his video where the girl crawls across the table toward him. His face is priceless. He doesn't know what to do or what to say. At one point, she said, Riley's calling HR, and he said, I think I am HR at this point. So, yeah, it was just, the only thing that would have been better is if the table would have given way.
Oh, Lord.
That would have been classic.
Well, I love the fact she was up there and it goes, we didn't test this table.
Yeah, and she said, I didn't know what I was going to do when I got over here.
Now, in her defense,
Got close to
it sounds like one of those things that is great when you think about it.
Sure.
And maybe just doesn't quite play out.
Well, the fact that
But
it was
it's
like dead
great.
silent and he looks terrified, like, oh my God,
That's the funny
what do
part.
I do now?
Lord.
So, yeah. Anyway, if you want to watch the entire video, it's available. That whole thing is just deliciously awkward. So, yeah, again, that's the UK podcast, Girls in Low Places. All right, well, Reba is going to be performing. This is for the Paley Honors Fall Gala in Los Angeles. So, Paley Honors is a really big deal. They honor people that have a lot to do with television and film. This year, it's a little different. It's Mattel's CEO, Jan Kretz, and also Bill Lawrence, the writer, producer, and director behind Ted Lasso. One of our favorites. They're both being honored, and they've tapped Reba to be the entertainment of the night. So she's going to be performing.
Speaking of Ted Lasso, like season 4, like
That's
where he
what I
coaches the
heard.
women's team, but when is it happening?
I don't know.
Okay.
I know. But is it back here, or is it still set in
No,
London?
I think he's in the UK.
Okay,
Well,
good.
I hope he's in the UK. It's more fun over there.
Of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And,
What did he say? I thought tea was hot brown water. It is, indeed, hot brown water.
The Paley Awards for William Paley, who was the guy that created CBS. And I think they started out as just a small
Legendary
and then
broadcasting
grew,
name, right?
and then grew it into one of the foremost radio and television networks in the world.
Love that.
Yeah.
Jamie O'Neill and the Isaacs. Did we know we needed this? We did not, but they are now together. Jamie O'Neill's new version of her chart-topping hit, There Is No Arizona. It was released 25 years ago. So now the re-release is with Opry stars, the Isaacs. And you can hear that very soon. And one more story for you. Do you remember Diet Coke with lime? I remember this, and I loved it.
I'd forgotten about it
They're
until you mentioned it.
bringing it back.
I love lime. Always
Get ready.
If I get water at the table, it's always bring me limes. Don't bring me lemon. Bring me
too.
limes. Love it. Kelly Sutton Entertainment, Charlie Mathers, Billy Boyd, back to wrap it up and head you into the weekend after a break.
From WSM Radio, this is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Welcome to the Assembly Food Hall stage. John C. Reilly, who just said before we went on, time zone? Central. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if my body knows what time zone it's in. At the moment, it's Central, okay?
Yeah, well, my body thinks it's 7 a.m., so this is a real early morning appearance.
Not too far off. You've been in town working too, so I mean, you've been doing late nights and now early mornings. as
Yeah,
well.
I actually on Tuesday I got up at 4:30 in the morning in L.A. and then ended the night by doing a show in Franklin, Tennessee here at the Franklin Theater. So we've been burning it at all three ends all week here.
And then Americana Honors and Awards, which you hosted your first time to host. But off the air before we went on, you mentioned that you presented John Prine with a Lifetime Achievement Award a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that was amazing. You know, I've been to the Ramen a few times. I think the first time like on a tour or something, but every single time I'm in that place, I really get it. You just get this palpable sense of its history and its spirit. And, you know, rooms are funny that way. They do have their own spirit, and that place is like a miracle. And, yeah, I got to meet John Prine the last time I was there. And then last night was just this cavalcade of stars, man. The bill was just loaded for bear. We had John Fogerty and Emmylou Harris and Daniel Lanois and Jesse Wells. And, yeah, I sang a duet with Margot Price. It was just like, I felt like I was dreaming, and I woke up in the Grand Ole Opry.
You did Blue Eyes, didn't you?
Yeah,
Willie
we did,
Nelson's
yeah,
classic?
Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, sure, yeah. And then some friends of mine in my band were backstage, and they were, you know, everyone in the dressing rooms watching on the monitor. And apparently Emmylou stood up, and she's swaying back and forth, and she's singing along with us on the TV. And she took my friend's arm, and she said, I know Willie. Willie would love this. So I was like, oh, my God, I can die and go to heaven now. My work is done here.
That's
Well,
amazing.
let's bring it full circle.
Yeah.
Before Willie, Roy Acuff
Yeah, sure.
cut it.
Yeah.
And we are sitting in Mr. Acuff's home in his living room.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize
Where
that.
he
Wow.
spent the last years of his life from 1984 to 1992.
Holy
when he
cow.
passed. So,
Was all this other stuff here?
No, we moved this in later.
Opryland Theme Park was here in the
Was
days.
Dave and Buster's here when he was living here?
That was a roller coaster back there.
Yes, but this was at the entrance to Opryland Theme Park, and he was our ambassador. Of course, he and Minnie Pearl, they rule at the Grand Ole Opry as hosts and
I
entertainers.
walk around that place and I just stare at the photographs. Like, John, we have to go. It's time. I know, but look, it's Minnie Pearl. She's standing on a ladder. There's all these crazy pictures backstage and stuff. Yeah.
And that's Ryman Wood that you're sitting on right there, too.
Ryman Wood.
So that came from the Ryman Auditorium, like circa 1950s,
Early
probably?
50s, yeah.
I'm glad it didn't turn into firewood. It's
No.
good that it's here.
And it's the circle at the Opry House comes from that same wood that you're sitting on.
Wow.
This morning.
Yeah, lots of history.
I'm not sure what this
I
says.
thought I felt something in my feet.
There it is. Yeah.
I'm not sure what this says about us, but when people saw that you were on the guest lineup, I had more people reach out about wanting to come over. The last time that happened, it was with wrestling champion Jerry the King Lawler. So,
Oh, nice.
So I don't know what
trying
that says about us, but you're in good company, I guess.
Listen, man, you
great.
set up a match between me and Lawler, and you're going to have a ratings bonanza.
Now, this is true, though, because everybody I've talked to, when they think of you, there's one specific movie or memory, but everybody has a different one. And I think that's when you know you've truly had a blessed career, when 10 people can come up with 10 different, like Kelly's first was Talladega Nights, right? Bill
sure.
defaulted to Dewey Cox. I instantly went to Mr. Cellophane in Chicago,
Yeah.
and it's those are all such iconic roles.
Which one
Yeah.
do you get the most?
I would say, well, it really does depend on the person's individual experience. My wife and I always play this game when people come up in the airport. We're like, I see if I can guess. They're like, "Are you John C. Reilly?" And I see if I can guess what movie they're going to say based on what they look like, what their profile might be. But if I'm really honest, people ask me, "Do people come up to you about Step Brothers every day?" And I said, "Only when I'm in public." My family doesn't mention it every day, but if I'm out in the street, someone mentions that one every single day. Yeah.
I saw on one database your credits are somewhere in the neighborhood, like movie credits, 140 or something like that. Does that sound right? Or is that number higher now?
I stopped counting, but man, if it's that high, I think I've done about 80 movies, and then there's all kinds of other credits, television shows
Yeah.
and cartoons and stuff like that. I like to say I'm in the groundwater at this point. Like, if you've been alive for the last 30 years, chances are I was in your brain at some point. Yeah.
That's amazing. So when did music become part of your passion? Did you just grow up listening to music and love it? Did you play when you were younger?
Yeah, I grew up doing musicals since I was about 8 years old. I'm from the south side of Chicago, so a lot of blues music in my life from an early age. My mom had a player piano, so a lot of these American songbook standards I learned from singing with my mom at the piano, not from any particular artist, just from these piano rolls. And I don't even know that. I mean, I'm sure if we had contemporary music on piano rolls, we would have listened to that. But, we had The Days of Wine and Roses and Winchester Cathedral. And, like, What'll I Do? All these kind of old Irving Berlin songs. So, yeah, music has always been something that has always just sort of fed me, Like, I learned how to be an actor doing musicals, because that was the only thing anyone wanted to do where I grew up on the south side. And then when I started doing movies and started traveling a lot, I realized that a guitar is real good company. Like when you're lonely on the road, like a guitar will never let you down. It's just a beautiful thing. It gives you comfort, and it's something to kind of keep yourself company. And then slowly people realized that I could do it, and then they started asking me to do it. I think the first movie that I actually played any music in was Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise.
Oh, wow.
And it's just me noodling around on the guitar, but it's literally the first time you see me playing a guitar on camera. And then, like one thing led to another, and then I'm doing the musical Chicago, playing this character, Mr. Cellophane, and so I had such a great time doing that, and it made me realize how much I loved musical theater and how much that was such a big part of my life growing up, that I thought, man, I really liked playing this character. I'm really suited to this kind of performance. I should go on tour as Mr. Cellophane. And then I was like, well, he only has one song. So that would be a very short concert. So then I thought, what, maybe you could start collecting songs that are like that kind of vaudevillian style. And it took me a long time, but I collected, all this music over about 20 years, actually. And then recently, like 3 years ago, I thought, well, it's time. I've got these songs. But it's no longer Mr. Cellophane, it's now Mr. Romantic, because that was what all these songs had in common. Falling in love, regretting a lost love, pining for a love you never had. And then the show, the music led us into this place. The show is like its own thing. The album is an experience, and the show is a whole other experience, which is sort of a meditation on love and empathy. Like the character, Mr. Romantic, comes out, he's this mythical character. He has no memory of the past, which frees you up as an audience member. You're not dealing with John Reilly, you're dealing with this mystical character, Mr. Romantic. And he pops out of this steamer trunk and he says, I don't know what happened before. All I know is I have to stay in that trunk. And when I come out of the trunk, I have to put on a show. And I don't have to go back into the trunk if I can find one person who will love me forever. And then I proceed to get to know people in the audience, and there's all this audience participation. I dance and sing these songs, and then, well, spoiler alert, I fail every show to find someone to fall in love with forever. But I say at the end of the show, what I've discovered is that I love all of you, and that's something. And I get back in the box, and that's the end of the show. So it just really sprang from this place, real pure place in my heart, in terms of playing that character before and wanting to connect with audiences in this time that we're in that's so divisive and, so much division between people and such a lack of empathy in some corners of the world. And so I thought, well, this show is going to be born of despair and joy, And so this was my kind of answer, like, this is what I can do. Maybe I can move the needle this way if I do a show that's a meditation on love and get people to think about things like, is someone I don't know worthy of my love? Someone I've never met, a stranger, And I personally think they are, because I think that's the building block of civilization, right? You stop at a red light, not because, your own selfish interest, because you don't want to hit someone who's going to go by, right? Someone you don't know. So I think, those kind of things are what's going to get us out of the mess we're currently in. But yeah, anyway, I'm a hopeful person.
Well, when we were prepping for your visit and we had the video ready, I told our producer, Jeff Roberts, who's up in our master control, I said, hey, make sure you let it go to the very end because he gets in the box. Not to give away the ending here, but you don't want him, you got to let him get in the box at the end.
So Mr. Romantic, John C. Reilly, What's Not to Love? And is this an original song, What I'll Do?
What's Not to Love, actually, is the title of the album. It's kind of one of those interrogative questions to the audience, like, what in the world is not to love, if you could. But the song itself on the record is originally a song called Ragtime, an instrumental music song by Randy Newman. And then we thought, well, we need like a mission statement at the end of the record, and we play that song instrumentally at the end of every show. It's our exit music. And I thought, well, maybe we could write words to this music, and we're like, it's Randy Newman's song. Like, you can't just like write words to Randy Newman's song. And then someone said, well, why don't you ask him? And so we asked him, and he said, sure, yeah, go ahead, write whatever you want, but you got to call it something else. My song's called Ragtime. You can call yours whatever you want. And so, yeah, that's how we ended up. David Garza and I, my co-producer and my right-hand man in the band, wrote the lyrics to that song, and we put it to Randy's music, and it's the closer of this album.
What'll I Do? John C. Reilly, all over the world on WSM Radio. You're watching on Circle Country Television.
This is WSM's Coffee, Country, and Cody.
John C. Reilly, very excited to have him on the Assembly Food Hall stage. Actor, producer, writer, singer, new music. Just hosted the Americana Honors and Awards, performed with Margot Price. Mr. Romantic, What's Not to Love is the name of the album. And we featured What'll I Do? That was a great setup because we were all waiting for the big payoff when you got back in the trunk.
Yeah, nice.
We got to see it all over the world here on the Circle.
The song remains the same. It's like he's caught in a loop, that guy.
So here in the South, a cult following for your work would be Talladega Nights, wouldn't
Oh,
you say, Kelly?
Well, you know what? I haven't. I wanted to mention this when you mentioned Talladega before. You know, I went to an in-store at Grimey's yesterday. You know, I signed a bunch of records and sang a couple songs, and the little kid from Talladega Nights was there.
Oh,
The little red-headed kid,
Spider monkey?
his name is Grayson. Yeah, I'm gonna come at you like a spider monkey.
That's him.
I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew. That kid. He's still an actor. He does country music too. He had a show. I think he said he had to leave yesterday. He had a show last night somewhere. But yeah. He's all grown up now. I was like, oh, bless you. You're like, he got all big on me. He was 6 when we made that movie.
Really?
Yeah. It was the funniest thing because you could get that kid. He was such a polite, sweet little Southern boy, you know, like very polite, you know, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, like everything like that. And so we quickly realized, like, oh, if you tell this kid to swear, it's the funniest thing you've ever heard. Or you tell him to say some aggressive, mean thing. So we just would throw him lines, all of us, not just the director, but me, Will. I think I'm the one who said, I'm going to come at you like a spider monkey. Say that, Grayson. I'm going to come at you like a spider monkey. You're like, it was just like a ventriloquist act. You could get him to say anything. And for him, it was like kind of exciting because like my parents would never let me say this.
Sure.
You know, like,
How many of those movies do you have moments where it's a fun run or an ad lib that they're like, yeah, we got it. Let's do another one.
well, with Will, that's like that's the game. You know, like you do the scripted version once or twice, and as soon as you're kind of bored with that, you're like, all right, well, let's do whatever we want now. You know, like.
That's got to be freeing, though, in a
Oh
way.
yeah, it's well, yes, it is very freeing and it's super fun and exciting. It's also, you know, it's kind of a high wire act, you know, because comedy's funny that way. You know, drama, someone can watch what you're doing and be like, well, I either relate to that or I don't, or I find this sad or poignant or I don't, but it's a silent reaction. If they ain't laughing when you're doing comedy, you know you're failing. So you really, you know, you're up there on the wire. But yeah, with Will, you're always in such good company because that guy, he can read the phone book and it's funny, you know.
Love it. Well, is there a different set of nerves when you're taking the stage? Like you're at the Franklin Theater and you are coming out as a character, obviously, but it's a different set of your brain, a different part of your brain that you're engaging versus being in something like Talladega Nights.
Well, yes and no, because, you know, to me, like everything I do is in some way all related, you know, like people ask me, do you like to do comedy better or drama better or music? And I think like, well, you just commit to whatever it is you are doing. So if you commit to a ridiculous idea, you're in a comedy, you know. If you commit to like something more serious, then you're in a drama. But for me, music and singing in particular is storytelling, you know? So I always find I gravitate towards songs that either have a central character or a beginning, a middle, and an end. We sang at Grimey's yesterday, You Don't Know Me. You know, it's just such a beautiful song, the way that song is built. You know, you give your hand to me and you say hello, and then it moves you through the experience of this person singing Old Love on the Street. It's just so moving. So I really commit to the storytelling part of it. And yeah, you know, I feel so lucky to be able to do all the different stuff I've been able to do. If there's one defining characteristic of my career, it's variety. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, tell actors like, why do you pick the same things? You're pigeonholed. You just do the same character over and over. But, you know, oftentimes it's not the actor that's doing that. It's the audience. You know, the audience wants to see people the same thing over and over. But I've been so blessed that the audience is just ready to see whatever I want to do. You know, they've been willing to let me try all these different things. And now here we are with an album coming out and like presenting music to people. And yeah, and it's just kind of a crazy cap off to be here in Nashville and to be surrounded by people like John Fogerty and Emmylou Harris and, you know, these greats of music. You know, you mentioned Charlie Louvin because we were talking about the Grand Ole Opry.
Long-time Opry star, of course, in the Country Music Hall of Fame, the Louvin brothers.
I'm obsessed with all of the brother acts, whether it's the Blue Sky Boys, the Delmore brothers, you know, the Louvins, the Stanley brothers, like all those people. For some reason, I just love the symbiosis of two voices singing in harmony like that. So when Charlie was still alive, he had an in-store signing at Amoeba Records in Los Angeles, and I brought my little son, who was 8 years old at the time, and we got up to the front, you know, we're going to get our poster signed, you know, and I didn't know Charlie at all. A friend of mine, like, told me about it, so he said, you got to be here, like, So I get there to the front of the line, and Charlie looks at my little son, and he goes, "What's your name, son?" He says, "Leo." He says, "How old are you, Leo?" He goes, 8. He's like, "Are you married?" Yeah. And Leo, of course, totally serious. Like, "No, sir." He's like, "Do you have a girlfriend?" "No, sir." And he goes, "Well, just remember, being married's like taking a bath. It's not so hot once you get used to it." I was like, "Thank you for not telling a dirty one, Charlie." Yeah.
And Leo certainly remembers that, I guess.
Oh, yeah. We
How old
still
is
have
Leo?
the poster. Yeah.
How old is Leo now?
Leo just turned 27.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
John C. I'm sorry, Charlie.
I always call Charlie Louvin a lovable curmudgeon.
Yeah. Those guys made some amazing music. My son's not married, by the way. So that may have made an impression.
PTSD. Yeah. Scarred him for life right there.
And we're going to close with Picture in a Frame. That was one that you requested we play in closing the interview this morning. John, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. This is a great Tom Waits song that I think the record is kind of in the jazz world, but Tom Waits occupies so many different worlds. And when you hear the song, you'll hear there's the definite rural component to our version of this song. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you. Please come back when you're in town.
I would love it. Thank
All
you
right.
for having me.
John C. Reilly on Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Coffee, Country, and Cody.
And Jordan Davis, bar none. Jordan Davis, oh, look at them boots, as Alan Jackson would say. He's got a Wolverine deal.
They're all sold. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can buy them online.
Good looking stuff.
Wolverine.com. That's where you go. Also, want to tell you, Kenny Chesney has something coming out. Not going to be something you can wear, but something you can listen to. First time that he has gone into the studio and not been singing. This time,
So
he's
what's he
just
doing?
talking.
Voiceover work?
He's trying to take her job, and that doesn't surprise me
Well,
one bit.
Carly Pierce, would this all start with her, didn't it?
It did, yeah. They all do it. They all just want to host things.
Actually, it started back with Bill Anderson.
Sure.
If we want to go blame somebody back 40 years ago for
That's it.
stealing our jobs.
Well, this is pretty cool. For more than 30 years, after 30 years of the release of his first single, Kenny Chesney is doing something in the studio he's never done before. An audiobook. The book is coming out November the 4th. It's all about his life, his memoir. And he said, this was way harder than I thought it was going to be. It took a lot longer to read the audiobook than I anticipated because maybe I was just getting lost in seeing all the people and places along the way. So it was like reliving all those memories.
There is nothing like an audiobook read by the author when
Sure.
it's about, because it's literally like they're in the car with you. And
love
I think he's
that.
going to do a great job.
Yeah, it comes out November 4th, so y'all be looking for it. You can save it if you want, pre-save if you have that on Audible. It's Heart Life Music, so be looking for that very soon. Post Malone, halftime show, maybe. I don't know. They're saying that it could happen, and people are making bets on it right now. Taylor is still in the running for that. Taylor, Ariana Grande, and Post Malone are the top 3 picks as of right now. We'll see.
All right.
Lainey would be cool too.
Lainey would be cool. I just picked her.
Yeah,
that was me.
You kind of put
Threw
that
it
out there.
You spoke that into the universe.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
And I see that this just came out in the last few minutes. She and Vince Gill are duetting on Go Rest High on That Mountain at the Emmys on Sunday night. And
in the
Nate
in
Bargatze's
memoriam.
hosting.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
And we remember Big John, Johnny Cash, passed away on this date in 2003. Of course, he was at the Opry for such a long time and then, of course, went on to a Hall of Fame career. Johnny Cash, remembered this morning on Coffee, Country, and Cody as we close with Kelly Sutton, Charlie Mattos, Amber Anderson. That's our studio director, Annie Nye, and there's Jeff Roberts in Master Control. We say we enjoy this weekend together and back on Monday.